Why do you want to do SEO? What's the attraction with SEO?
I think SEO would be good for me because I don't really have a lot of budget. Content creators making noise about how SEO can effectively be free.
If you spent £500 a month on SEO, you will still lose. You will just lose £500 a month. The conversion rate is going to be higher. Salesforce don't care about that. HubSpot don't care about that. It's too small a little niche for them. They're all about the big play, but that's your strength. That's their weakness.
Hello, welcome back to the Inside Digital podcast. Me, Nick, if you've watched it before, I'm one of the project leads here at Tillerson Consulting. On my left, hopefully you know him, and we've got Mark. He is our business leader and our growth champion. I've just given you a new job. I've given you a new job title.
Excellent.
Yeah. We're going to do something a little bit different in this episode. We are going to talk about we're going to come up with a scenario and talk you through what some of the problems that a lot of businesses have if they're not really in tune with a lot of marketing, trying to understand what the best route to go down is in order to do that, and ultimately why jumping in straight to SEO, which some businesses are quite keen to, isn't always the best idea. So I'm going to play the role of a not so informed business leader, and Mark's going to kind of coach me through and talk me through why SEO might not be the right thing. So hopefully this is insightful. It's going to be an
It could be fun, could be hilarious. We might be re-recording this whole thing.
Okay, how would you like to start this?
Okay, so Nick, you've come to us and said you'd like us to do SEO for you. Why do you want to do SEO? What's the attraction with SEO?
I think SEO would be good for me because I don't really have a lot of budget. And
right.
From the small things I've seen online, I hear content creators making noise about how SEO can effectively be free. That, once it's there, it kind of just keeps on growing and growing and growing. And being a small business owner, I want a piece of that pie, really. So I was hoping you guys might be able to help me out.
Okay. So option one here is I say, yeah, it's $1,000 a month and we do SEO for you and it's great, right? That's option one. But I want to get underneath the skin of the problem. So just tell me a little bit about the business. So what is it you sell? Where does the money come from?
No problem. Yeah, so we're kind of a new emerging CRM provider. Obviously,
Cool.
I'm not aiming to be able to compete with the likes of like HubSpot or anything like that, but I think I found a bit of a niche for what some small businesses might want in terms of kind of increasing our awareness. Like I said, we've got a really small budget. I think I'd be wanting to spend, about £500 a month ideally on this sort of thing.
So let's just talk about, so what have the users you've got at the moment, how did you acquire those users? So they're obviously spending some money with you, they're paying a monthly fee. How did you get those customers? Yeah,
well, so I think we've done quite well on sort of exhibition stuff to get those. We've attended some expos across the country, started some conversations, and that's been quite successful. But obviously that's not really sustainable for us. We can't just keep attending expos and strike out conversations, even though the intent behind those leads is really great and everything like that. And we have dabbled a little bit in paid ads, but not too much success. So our client base is really small. We've kind of just gone from startup. So the momentum we've got at the moment, is not there. It's not really where I want it to be. So
So you tried paid ads? Yeah. What sort? Search or display or video ads or meta ads? Just search.
Yeah, we went with another agency, got burnt by them a little bit, know.
Wow, this is a familiar story, isn't it? Wow.
I'm really trying to immerse myself in a normal customer here.
Wow, got burned by an agency. Man, if I had £5 for every time someone said that to me. Yeah,
And we didn't really get too much success off of the back of that, And
so what happened?
We didn't really know.
So you got some leads? You got no leads? You got some sign-ups?
A few leads, but the quality just wasn't really there.
Okay, so you get return on it.
Yeah, and what we found is that when we were, from what the agency was saying from the analytics, when the clicks were getting there, people were just bouncing. So I think it's the problem with the ads.
Yeah. Okay. Could be the ads. Yeah. Okay. So in terms of, what does success look like? What is the value of someone signing up, I assume you got like a free trial or something for like 14 days, and then
Yeah.
it's how much is it a month for me to use the CRM
Yeah,
system?
no, we run that sort of 14-day trial period where
Yep.
we sort of guide them through how it works, arrange with their call with the sales guys at the end of that 14-day period, just to see how they got on with it. And then, it's priced at sort of £100 a month is like our baseline. We have upsell options on top of that, but
So broadly, customer acquisition, so someone who signs up, how long do they stay for? Like 12 months on average, 5 months, 6 months?
in terms of customer
Lifetime customer value.
Yeah.
Let's call it that for kicks.
Most have stayed probably within 4 and 6 months. We haven't really been able to retain for longer than that.
So for the maths, let's say 6 months.
So
It's £100 a month, so a customer's worth £600 on average.
Yeah.
You could do some work on longevity and extending that and creating more value, but for now, let's just say it's worth £600.
Yeah.
So for someone who does the 14-day trial, what's the conversion rate from trial to paying?
Gut feel, because we haven't got into analytics, I'd say that's around 35%. So quite
35%.
Quite good.
Thanks for making the maths easy for me.
You're so welcome.
Okay, so it's about 1 in 3.
I mean, it might be closer to 30 if that's, even
That doesn't
easier.
help. So it's 1 in 3. So our £600 value means someone signing up for a trial is worth £200.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, obviously, you got some costs for running the thing. You got server costs. You got team costs and everything else. But our revenue for every trial, give or take, is about £200. So the challenge here is, what is the cost per click? What is the conversion rate from click to trial to be able to afford the cost per click that you were paying on search? Does that make sense? So if our conversion rate is, let's say it's 1% to get £200, then we can afford, maths is failing me now, it's like £2 a click or something. So that's what we could afford. So if we paid, it's not even that actually, it's £2 a click. So we could afford £2 a click. 1 in 100 clicks means we get someone signing up for that trial. So that's where the constraint is on paid search, right? Is that if your conversion rate from click to lead or trial is going to cost you £200, you're breaking even. So if you're paying £2 a click, it takes 100 clicks, £200 to make £200 back. So you're breaking even at £2 a click. The problem is that the likes of HubSpot and everybody else know they have a better machine. So if their conversion rate is more like 10% and they're paying £5 a click, then it's costing them £50 to get a trial.
Okay.
Where it's costing you 200.
Sure.
So you can't afford to pay £5 per click like they are.
No, I cannot.
So your constraint actually isn't the cost per click. Your constraint is your conversion rate on your sales page.
Right.
So
Okay.
if you were to do SEO like you asked me to do, the problem there is you are competing against HubSpot for those same rankings. And they will invest more money than you because they get more value. So you can't just shortcut where the value is. If you want the value, it's the value to you. The value to HubSpot is 10 times what the value is to you. So they can afford to spend 10 times as much money on SEO to achieve the same thing that you want to achieve. The net result of that is you lose. If you spent £500 a month on SEO, you will still lose. You will just lose £500 a month. So the problem that you have actually isn't an SEO problem. So you shouldn't be yet investing in SEO. So you first have to make search work. So I would suggest that you want to prove it with paid search, but you need to work on the offer and the sales proposition first. So that means your sales page has to convert more of those clicks. So if you change your conversion rate from 1% to 5% at the same £2 per click, you're going to get 5 times as many conversions for the same £200. So it's more like £40 a conversion. Right. So you get £40 a conversion, but you make £200. How many times would you like to spend £40?
As much as I can, please.
About 50 times a day would be great. Thank you very much, right? We'll have more money than Elon by the end of the year. We're amazing. Yeah, but you see where the constraint is that HubSpot convert at 10%, you convert at 5% or 1%. They can afford to pay twice as much per click than you can. Now, at the point where you are now converting at 5% at £2 a click, actually you're making money, but you won't have volume. because they're still outbidding you in the auction multiple times. So there are two things we can do there. So the next is we say, well, instead of paying £2 a click, if we paid £3 a click at the same conversion rate, it's now going to cost us £60, but we're still making £40 profit. So we could afford that. But the thing is, you're probably going to get 3 times the volume, 3 times the volume of new customers, 3 times the spend at a higher cost per acquisition. But also, because the whole flywheel is spinning and it's moving faster, what you're then going to understand is the conversion rate gets better because your ads are ranked higher. Okay, so you'll probably get an uplift in conversion rate. Will come back to maybe £50, for a trial. What I'd be then thinking about is, if you take that trial, if we can improve that conversion rate from 35% to 40%, then the value of someone signing up to a trial increases. At the same cost per trial, we get more people through the trial and more people actually sign and start paying us £100 a month. Now, if you can then extend that lifetime customer value, even by a month, even if you said our average is 6 months, so you told me beginning, if it was 7 months or 8 months, the value of that customer increases now the value of the trial. And if the value of the trial is increased, we can afford to pay more for each trial, which means we can afford to pay more per click, which means we can start competing with HubSpot and Salesforce and those other things, right? So that's very broadly the levers that you would have to pull. So if you went into that same competitive market on organic search, you will get burned just as hard there as you did with paid search. So it's the offer that is the challenge.
Right.
The next thing to think about is going head to head with the likes of HubSpot and Salesforce is a bad idea.
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't really want to be attracting, I wouldn't think you want to be attracting head to head. We do CRM, so do they. Okay, well, it's yours or HubSpot or Salesforce, right? You're going to lose most of the time. You've got to have something that's different. So either yours is much cheaper than theirs, in which case we're a small business CRM. We're not a CRM. Let's pick a niche. Let's pick low cost. Or pick specific verticals. I want a CRM for plumbers. I want a CRM for accountants. I want a CRM for solicitors. I want a CRM for hairdressers. I don't know, whatever, right? Because then you can afford to bid on those keywords and convert more of them because you have a specialist solution. So when someone is looking for a CRM for hairdressers, well, there's Salesforce. Well, that feels a bit big for me. I'm just a hairdresser. Well, we win then. So you can pick the niches within that. And the good thing there is you will likely find that the cost per click is lower. But because you now have a sales page for a hairdresser's CRM and you show a demo of how hairdressers use it, the conversion rate is going to be higher. Salesforce don't care about that. HubSpot don't care about that. It's too small a little niche for them. They're all about the big play, but that's your strength. That's their weakness.
Okay.
So actually, you could start picking specific niches and going after search. And then the good news from an SEO point of view is you are probably going to be able to outrank them much more easily in those niches than you are on CRM system and trying to be number one.
Okay.
You're not going to compete there, and you're definitely not going to compete for £500 a month. That traffic's worth, I don't know, do the maths with ChatGPT or something, but it's multiple millions is what that is worth. You are not going to create multiple millions of value by spending £500 a month. You are just going to get beaten to death in that battle. It just won't work.
Okay.
So I think you have to think about, firstly, the conversion rate of your offer to increase the amount you can afford to pay per click to make it financially profitable. So the offer and the landing page are critical in this. And then think about increasing that percentage from trial to sign up, and then increasing the lifetime customer value beyond 6 months. So how do we get you from 600 to 1200? How do we get you from six months to 12 months? Do we do more on our customer care? Do we do more, in terms of email flow? Do we offer them some free training to get more out of the product that they're buying?
Yeah.
Would that mean we went from 600 to 1200? If the answer is yes, my guess is if they're paying £100 a month and they get to 12 months, the chances are it's going to be 18 or 24 months or longer. So you're going to create 4 times the value. That £600 lifetime customer value now is 2,400. Now what's a trial worth?
Oh, geez.
2,400 divided by 3.
Yeah.
It's 800 quid.
Yeah.
We can afford to pay way more per click and steal the market, right? Because we created more value. So that's the maths. People get it upside down. So what is happening is you think, well, SEO, the clicks are free. If the clicks were free and the leads were free, then that's a model that I can run with, right? It's not free. It isn't free. Someone has to do the work to get you ranked and keep you ranked. And if you did steal number one spot from HubSpot or Salesforce, what do you think is going to happen?
I mean, I'm not them. I wouldn't be able to support, the traffic.
They'd fight back.
From them. And
they'd fight back. They'd steal it back from you. They'd do more SEO. They'd build more links. Yeah. You'd never be able to fight. You'd never be able to, because there isn't enough value for you to compete with them at that level. Not this week, not this year. Maybe in 5 years when you've overtaken them, then maybe.
Yeah.
But I think you have to differentiate. You have to pick your battles. You definitely have to work on landing page. You definitely have to work on the offer. I would definitely be thinking about niches and going after those search terms. And with that sort of budget, whilst you build the brand and you build the user base and you start making profit, and then you can start reinvesting and scaling up what you're doing.
Okay.
But SEO isn't where you're at. SEO is, I have proven that search marketing works. I have proven that if I get traffic that is high intent from a search engine, it does convert, and I have an offer that converts. Therefore, SEO is a scale opportunity where I'm just getting more of the same kind of traffic. People are searching for the thing that I have. When they land on my page, most of the time, or more often than not, they like what I've got, and they sign up for a trial. So if you then said, well, I've got to invest, I don't know, 100 grand in SEO in a year, how much traffic am I going to get? Well, I'm going to get this much traffic. What's my conversion rate? Well, it's this. Okay, so invest 100 grand, I get this much traffic, I get this many signups, which leads to this customer value. Does that stack up or not? And then it's worth investing the 100 grand, or the 200 grand, or the 50 grand, or the 5 grand. But I think what happens with SEO a lot is a lot of small agencies will go, we have a product that's £500 a month and we'll do SEO for you. The thing is, if you spend 500 quid instead of 5k, you don't get a tenth of the value. You probably get about 1% of the value. So when you're spending 5k, the economy of scale is enormous. You will get 100 times the amount of traffic that you would get from spending 500 quid, probably. It depends on the market. But SEO, I think, feels like the right answer for a business where they're struggling to make a profit from clicks that they are paying for. And fundamentally, the reason that they can't afford the click is because they're not creating the value from the click in the first place. And the constraint actually is the offer and the sales page and the product, not the click.
So really, for me, SEO and just Google ads on their own aren't the silver bullet to my problem. What I need to really be thinking about is the machine and the overall proposition really of what I've got. I can't just do one.
Yeah, you have to have a great offer that converts.
Yeah.
And good news is you've already proven it. If you go to an exhibition and you get in front of somebody and you explain the product and they sign up for a trial and they continue paying for it. So you've already got a proven model. You've already got a CRM system that works that people like, which is great. That's a fantastic starting point. What we have to try and emulate is how do we get that story that you told at the exhibition in front of the right people for a cost low enough from search ads or from social ads or LinkedIn ads or any other method. How do we get that? How do we replicate that so the cost of each of the conversations is low enough so that you can afford to pay for every conversation, which turns, 10% of those conversations turn into a trial, and 1 in 3 of those trials turn into a customer. That's where the challenge is you have to have that sales page, has to have that story, and that's fixable.
Yeah,
that's the good news. But I'd be probably picking some niches where you've already got some experience, where some of your users are plumbers or electricians or whatever they are, and going, we have a story for an electrician just like you using this CRM system. Frank said, oh, it was so much easier. I could track this, I could track that. I've literally billed 50 grand more than I did last year because of this CRM system, and I'm a plumber, just like you. Well, if you can sell that story to other plumbers and put an ad in front of plumbers with that same story, here's 50k for spending 100 quid a month, and it's going to improve your business and save all this time, and you won't be working till 8 o'clock in the evening following up all this stuff, and your wife won't be able to go at you because you're not sitting at the dinner table, right? This is what it did for that business. So if you can build that story for a plumber and an electrician and a hairdresser and or whatever, if you can take those niche stories, I think then you have a clear differentiator from HubSpot and Salesforce, and you're able to compete in those niches where they don't really care about those niches. They're too small. If you start getting into mainstream CRM, you come up head to head, and all you're competing on is price, and that's going to be difficult. So if you're kind of going, the CRM system is for single person businesses or 2 to 3 people in them, and that's our sweet spot and that's where we fit. That's great. We're not HubSpot. We don't have all that deal flow. We don't have all that complex stuff. That's not who we are. That's not our product. We don't compete with them. If you are Frank, who's a plumber and just wants a thing on his phone to keep track of things and quotes and things like that, and reminders to follow things up and follow quotes up and close deals and whatever, then that's who we are. HubSpot's too big for Frank. Do you see what I mean? So you differentiate. So that you can afford to compete in the niches, even with a budget that you mentioned, but you've got to pick some very specific areas to go out. Be a big fish in a small pond.
Sure. Okay.
Ultimately.
So this is awesome, but I'm not marketing inclined. So could you just give me like a real quick summary of a kind of all of that?
Yeah.
Just so I can take that away and talk to my team.
Yeah. So the challenge you have is that what you want to do in terms of SEO is too expensive and it isn't the right thing for you right now. In terms of pay-per-click search, it is the right thing to be thinking about, but number one, you've got to be targeting the right search terms and the right intent to get the right people to the sales page. But number two, what is most important is that sales page has to be engineered as a sales tool to convert that click, to convince that person to sign up to that trial. And then you've got to work hard on the trial and extending that lifetime customer value. So you create more value from the click, you can afford to pay more per click. If you can get that right and you optimize that journey over a period of time, that is where you will start going, well, do you know what? We're spending £500 a month. Actually, it's working. We're getting a return on it. What if we spent £1,000 a month? You'd probably get double and some. And if you spend £2,000 a month, you'll get double again and some, and the whole thing will start to work on the economy of scale. That's when you start getting much greater performance, higher conversion rates. It's where you start thinking about building brand campaigns, doing YouTube ads, doing social ads to build the awareness of the product when you're at that scale. At the moment, where you are is you need to create a single machine that reliably delivers trials for a decent cost, and that is targeting and sales page. That's the thing you're going to work really, really hard on. Once you've nailed the sales page, then you can start to scale. Then you can start to think, spend more. Then you can start to think, maybe SEO is the right way to go because I know I'm going to get a return on it. But that's where you're at.
Okay, awesome.
Cool.
I'll be Nick again now.
Awesome. Yeah, so SEO is not the silver bullet. No. I think is the key thing. And I think the perception from most businesses is it's the silver bullet because clicks are free, but getting there and staying there is not free. That takes time, effort, skill, and it's an ever changing marketplace.
Yeah.
The thing that gets you to number one today, it will be a different set of requirements or more of the same in a year because everybody else is always doing stuff. So it's a bit like, what does it take? What car do I need to win the world championship in a Grand Prix? Well, the car you need today is not the car that will win it next year. No. And it definitely isn't the car that's going to win it in 4 years from now. It's constant change. And that's the same with SEO. The tactics broadly are the same, but your competitors are always doing more. So you're chasing them, but they're moving further down the road, like the F1 analogy. You're kind of going, yes, we've got that wing finally nailed. We've shaved like 0.2 seconds off lap. It's amazing. But everyone else has gone 0.3 seconds faster.
Yeah.
So you're still behind. So you're forever chasing this thing that's always moving. Now you can catch it and overtake it, but they are still moving. You can't go, SEO is done. Let's stop paying for that. Well, your rankings are going to go down because everyone else is still carrying on. So that is the challenge with SEO. It's getting you there and getting more traffic is hard, but it's still hard getting you there or keeping you there.
Yeah.
And you've got to almost have a level of investment to stay where you are.
Yeah.
That's the challenge, but it only works if you've got an offer that gives you a return on that traffic.
Yeah.
And the quickest way to do that is paid.
Yeah.
Absolutely quick.
Awesome. Okay. I think that wraps that up nicely. Thank you for tuning in,
Boom.
guys. Boom.